What's going on, guys? Happy Monday to you. Today I want to talk to you guys about smart media tokens. We're going to be doing a brief overview, and then I'm going to get into why I think this is going to impact the value of Steem and the reason why I'm actually excited about smart media tokens. I think it's awesome that we're creating, or other applications are going to be using our smart media tokens to launch their platforms or to incentivize users on their platforms with tokens created from the Steem blockchain. But I'm really excited about the fact that I hold quite a bit of Steem power. And you guys should be excited too if you hold any Steem whatsoever, because it's only going to increase the value. We'll talk about that in today's video. Now I want to remind you guys that with every video, every post that I do, I give a free upvote from the Frye upvote bot to somebody who upvotes and comments on today's video. So if you'd like a chance to win that free upvote from the Frye upvote bot, feel free to upvote and comment on today's post. All right, so first we just need to do a brief overview of what smart media tokens are. So if you've been hiding in a closet somewhere or underneath a rock and you haven't heard about smart media tokens, let's just go ahead and get into what they are, just a brief overview. And this I'm getting from smt.steem.io, where Ned Scott, founder of Steemit, gives an overview of what the smart media tokens are. It says here, a new way for publishers to monetize their online content and community based on battle-tested blockchain technology. So what he's saying is that Steemit was the first application used with Steem to kind of prove out and prove the use case and the value of having a platform that is built around incentivizing its users, which is totally different from, say, Facebook, which is their business models around advertising, and that's how they earn their money. Well, with Steem, they actually reward the users. They actually pay the users instead of themselves and incentivize the users to create really good content, because if they do, it's worth an upvote and it's worth money, right? So it is battle tested. It is proven that Steemit works. It is the first platform built like this. And so now they're launching smart media tokens so that anybody out there, whether they have a forum or a social media site or some other kind of website where there's an algorithm where people like stuff and share stuff and comment on stuff, they could launch their own token, their own crypto token off of Steem, and start incentivizing their users as well to build their platform and to create really good content and have an impact on the web. So let's scroll down here a little bit further and we'll just read over this really quick. The problem: publishers and creators struggle to make a profit from their digital work. Why? It's hard for publishers to acquire a critical mass of paying subscribers. If you guys have been on YouTube and try to create a YouTube channel, then you know that all too well. It's hard to build up that following. It takes time, and it takes a long time to really start making any money. I used to have a blog on my own website. It was a WordPress blog, and I worked on that for like 2 years straight and barely made any money. And I was starting to make money about the time that I sold it, because I just got tired of doing it. Okay. So it is hard to get that following going where you're actually making any money, whether you're using Google AdSense, or whatever else, trying to make money out there. It says right here, ad revenue is taking a hit with the rise of ad blockers. That is true. Tips and donations are not viable due to the expense of processing micropayments. So if you're using, say, PayPal, they're taking big fees out of that. Huge social networks like Facebook take profits from publishers, but don't share the revenue. We've talked about that over and over before. The solution is to enable publishers to create tokens that help monetize content and grow communities. How? Tokens enable publishers to create manually beneficial, community-based economic incentives to drive platform growth. Smart tokens with near instant settlement and zero transaction fees, which is huge, opens up new non-advertising business models. Publishers can also use the tokens to fundraise via an initial coin offering. Okay. So what are smart media tokens? Smart media tokens is a native digital asset on the Steem blockchain that can be quickly launched by anyone to help monetize online content and create incentives to encourage desired user behavior. So I want to point out that it doesn't have to be a website that already exists. Like, it doesn't have to be a facebook.com. It doesn't have to be a YouTube. It doesn't have to be anything like that. It could be a brand new launch of a website or a platform where somebody's like, I want to create my own version of Steemit and call it something totally different and incentivize users on that platform, to use it. And maybe you're going into a whole different category, or maybe you want to do an identical platform to Steemit. You can do that with a smart media token. So it says they're like Ethereum's ERC20 token. So if you don't know, guys, Ethereum has their own tokens as well, that could be considered similar to our SMTs, and they are called ERC20 tokens. That's the protocol. And a lot of different coins have been created with these ERC20 tokens, which has raised the value of Ethereum. This is what got my brain going when I first heard about SMTs and got me excited about how this could increase my investment in Steem because of the launch of SMTs. I wanted to kind of compare the two and see, learn more about what's going to drive the value up in the Steem because of these SMTs going out. So that's why I want to touch on that at the end of today's video. And it says here, they're like Ethereum's ERC20 tokens, but with certain built-in proof-of-brain properties. So we'll talk about proof-of-brain a little bit more, but proof-of-brain is basically an algorithm that shows people made a decision on something. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Like I like your post, so I'm upvoting it, right? I'm resteeming your post, I'm commenting on it. That's proof-of-brain. And a token distribution reward system designed specifically for digital content businesses. All right, proof-of-brain community incentives. Proof-of-brain is a type of tokens reward algorithm that encourages people to create and curate content. It enables tokens to be distributed by upvote and like-based algorithms and can be integrated with websites to align incentives between application owners and community members to spur growth. So like I said, instead of Facebook, Facebook's really popular. It's been a really great user interface and platform for so long. And, until recently, people are getting hesitant to use the platform because of all of the data they're collecting from you. But you have to understand that's their business model. That they've based their business model all off of advertising, right? They built up the platform, they brought in the advertisers, and that's how they make huge money, right? And they don't give you any of that, okay? So what they're saying here is with the SMTs and with Steem and the way Steemit works is that we built a platform here with great content because the community itself decides on what that good content is and upvotes it accordingly and pays out users. And let's scroll down here a little bit further. And this is what I really want to point out. With SMTs, now anyone can set up their own custom token. So it's really a specialized protocol. So it's kind of like the ERC20 tokens on Ethereum, but it's specialized. It's like turnkey is what I should say. It's quick and easy to set up your own token. Choose from several out-of-the-box options based on common use cases, or customize your tokens as you wish. Create the right incentives that will drive platform growth and reward your community. Use the new token to fundraise from the community. Now, one thing I want to point out is that if you were to create your own ERC20 token, I'm going to keep on comparing these two, on Ethereum, then you could launch your own ERC20 token, but you're going to have to provide the programming and probably other server networks and all that stuff. Where with the SMTs, you already have the network created. You already have all the programming done for you. You've got the help of Ned, the founder of Steemit. He's going to be helping you out as well. And you got that whole team of people behind Steemit that are going to be helping you out and get that going, because it's only in our interest to get that going, right? So it really is a turnkey operation here where you can set up your own SMT token, decide from a few variables, few properties here on how you want it set up, like what's the maximum total supply, how you want your curation and content rewards curves, emissions rate, do you want to raise funds via an ICO? So you don't even have to not do an ICO, which I watched a video today from Ned Scott talking about this, and he said, in the future with these Steemit SMTs, you're not even going to need an ICO, right? It's going to have so much value and velocity from the get-go, from day one, that you're not even going to need an ICO, right? Step 2, fundraising details. So if you want to have an ICO starting date, closing date, minimum amount you need to raise, and all that good stuff. And it looks like there's a whole lot more too that goes into this, but this is just giving you a snippet to kind of show you what it takes to launch your own SMT off the Steem blockchain. So I think it's cool that they provided this because it really shows how turnkey this really is and how easy it is to set up, the different properties, the different characteristics of your blockchain, how you want it to look, how you want it to function. And like I said, it's turnkey. Right out of the box, you can have your platform going right away from day one. And then if we scroll down a little bit further, it gives you some examples of SMT use cases. So content publishers, single token support, mainstream media websites growth has been slowing, and they are looking for ways to get ahead of the changing tech landscape. The website migrates to a Discus-like application based on Steem or taps directly into Steem APIs for custom integration. Now their subscribers can be rewarded with cryptocurrency while commenting. When the website is ready, they can issue their own token through the comments interface. The token will allow them to raise capital by selling tokens, catalyze autonomous growth, And then another example would be forums. So multiple token support. Let's go down a little bit further. Comments widgets. Okay, so if you want to just add the comments to maybe your blog and reward people on your blog, I think that'd be a little bit more far-fetched and a lot of work for just having comments, but that is another example of something you could do. Sub-community moderators and managers. So that's another example there. So there's a few examples here. Now, one thing I want to show you is our very first SMT is in the process of being launched. It is called APPICS. I've talked about this in a previous video. I'll leave a link to that video below so you guys can watch that video and learn more about APPICS. But this is going to be based off of SMT, a smart media token from the Steem blockchain. So this is the very first one being launched. They're in their last round of funding for their ICO. They're in round D. It says buy now or cry later. And there's only 2 days and 6 hours left to invest with them. You're not going to get any bonus at this point, but you will get in at a fraction of the price you're probably going to pay a few months from now because it's only going to increase in value. So you could join their ICO if you want to do that here. I'll leave a link to this website below. They're showing a lot of updates that they've had. They've even had, I think this is Redman. Yeah, Redman talking about their SMT. So they're getting a lot of hype, a lot of good attention to their project here, and this will be launching very, very soon. Like I said, the last round of this ICO ends in 2 days and 6 hours. So as soon as that's done, they're going to be putting all the work in to getting their platform launched. So that's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to this launching and seeing how it goes. And it'll be really exciting for all of us here who are holding on to Steem or Steem Power. All right, so why am I excited about this from a Steem holder's perspective? Like, why do I think this is going to raise the value of Steem? You may be asking yourself that as well. So let's get into that, okay? So if we go into the SMT white paper, and I'm sure all of you guys have read this, probably not. I will leave a link to the SMT white paper below so you can read all about it. If you love going through black and white print and all the fine details, then you can do that. But if you want to, skip to page 56 in the SMT white paper and you will learn about why they believe this is going to increase the value and the demand for Steem. All right, so let's just go over a few points here. Increasing market demand for Steem with SMTs and implicit value drivers rather than fees. So it says here there are several new value drivers to Steem with the creation of SMTs. So these are value drivers we didn't have before, right? So with Steemit, in the past, if we wanted our Steem to rise in value, it needed to be added to a new exchange. So like when it got added to Binance, it went up in value. We just need to increase how many people are on the Steemit platform and have those people hold on and power up into Steem Power. That increased our value. So those little things added to our value. But now with the SMTs, this completely changes the game. You know, I heard somebody else compare it to, you could set up a business on the side of a highway and your business may not be successful because of all that traffic. But what if you created a toll booth on that highway and you're getting paid for all the traffic? Then you've got a real, risk-free, guaranteed to make money business right there in the middle of the highway because you're getting paid from everybody, right? So that's really kind of the idea with these Steem SMTs is that Steem holders and Steem itself is going to be the energy or the driving force for the SMTs. So we are going to be collecting value from all of the SMTs that are launching, okay? So stick with me here. Let's go through these little pointers here. Steem purchase for transaction bandwidth enables maximally profitable participation across SMTs. So let's break that down. Okay, what this means is for an SMT to be able to function, they're going to have bandwidth, right? So let's say you're a user on APPICS, it just launched, you're a new user. Well, in order to function in that SMT ecosystem, to be able to have the bandwidth available to make posts, re-Steem, do all those great things, same things we do on Steemit, they also have to have bandwidth, right? So this could be provided by APPICS, or it could be provided by the user who's purchased Steem Power. And I believe it's going to be, and we'll have to wait and see on this, but I believe that will be provided by APPICS. So APPICS, if you haven't noticed, guys, if you follow any of the stats, people who post stats on Steem, I know Penguin Pablo, I believe is who it is. He posts stats about Steem like every single day, and he also gives a weekly update of different stats. And I know I've seen that APPICS has been powering up and powering up and powering up, or purchasing more and more Steem recently, anticipating for their launch, right? So they're powering up, they're getting a bunch of steam, so that way they have that bandwidth. It also adds value to their SMT platform, which I'll talk about in just a minute. So basically, every user who's going to be using this new SMT has got to have bandwidth in order to function on that SMT blockchain. And in order to do that, they have to have Steem power to be able to have that bandwidth. So the owner of the company, or the APPICS platform, is going to have a bunch of bandwidth, purchased through Steem in order to provide that user with that bandwidth. So APPICS itself needs to power up, or needs to buy a bunch of Steem. So with that Steem purchased, powered up, then obviously that limits the supply of Steem for everybody else, which we know raises the value, even if the demand stays constant or if it goes up a little bit, right? So that will increase the value of Steem itself. All right, the second factor here is Steem supply is locked into liquidity pools by automated market makers. Now, the way I heard Ned describe this is that with this SMT in the back end, they may lock up, say, 20-30% of their Steem tokens, and it'll be constantly trading back and forth with the SMT. So the SMT and Steem be constantly trading back and forth. So that Steem will be locked up, which means, again, that limits the supply of Steem out there in the blockchain, but the demand may stay the same or rise a little bit, so increases the value. The next pointer is Steem and SMT demand increases with advent of new powers of influence. Now, the way I understand this is that with new SMTs launching out, different people on those platforms are going to say, hey, look at this trending page. If I was to power up in a bunch of this SMT or Steem, then I can gain more influence, and that's what they're going to do, right? People have done that. They do that every single day here on Steemit. So they'll be doing that the same way on the SMT platforms and powering up, raising the value, right? So that's pretty self-explanatory, pretty straightforward. Okay, so the next pointer is Steem demand increases with proliferation of SMT ICOs. So basically what this means is, a lot of these platforms that are going to be using our SMTs will have ICO rounds. And one point, or I think one good benefit of having an ICO is to raise money, right? Obviously, that's the big point of it. And in order to have any kind of value on the new SMT blockchain, or for that new SMT token to have any value, the creator of said platform needs to be able to back that value up with Steem. So they're going to purchase a whole lot of Steem in order to make sure that when that ICO launches, when that coin launches, it has value from day one. And they can basically determine that however they want to, depending on how much Steem they purchase. So that's one of the reasons why APPICS has been buying so much Steem lately, is because they want, when their ICO to launch, they want that value to be, as high as possible for their investors, and just for the platform to really gain momentum and people be very attracted to it. And so that makes complete sense, because when you think about this ICO rounds that have been going through, and after each ICO round, or after almost each every day, APPICS has been purchasing more and more Steem. So they're using the investor money to purchase Steem, which adds value to their SMT token. And so that just makes sense. So what they're saying here is that as more and more people, or more and more platforms come on board and want to create their own SMT token, they're going to also be doing ICO rounds for the most part. Most of them will. And that will be, locking up more and more and more Steem, which raises the value. As we talked about, as the demand decreases, as people are buying all this Steem up, as the supply decreases and as the demand stays the same or increases maybe a little bit, then the value automatically drives up, right? Pretty common sense stuff. So we look forward to seeing more ICOs come out, more SMTs come out, and there's a couple of more I've kind of caught wind of other SMTs that are going to be launching. Unfortunately, I didn't write them down, but I will be keeping an eye out for other SMTs like APPICS that are going to be coming out, so you guys can be in the know about that. It might be something you want to invest in. Now, one counter argument I've heard about this one pointer right here, Steem demand increases with proliferation of SMT ICOs. One counter argument I've heard is that it's possible that once these platforms launch, so like let's say APPICS launches and they've raised all this Steem because people are paying Steem to buy into their ICOs, it's possible that they could dump Steem back on the market, right? But it's very, very, very it's in my eyes, I think it's very unlikely, or at least it's very unlikely they're going to get rid of all of it. They're going to need it for bandwidth, for one. And number two, they're going to need it for application expenses and stuff like that. So on the back end, they're going to save Steem to have that available for other needs for their their blockchain or their platform or what have you. So I don't think they're going to be dumping it all back on the market. I'm sure they'll dump some of it, but I don't think it's going to have a negative impact like some people think it might, because as more SMTs are launching, it's just going to have kind of a snowball effect with the value of Steem, and I don't think we definitely won't see any negative impact. And it even says that right here. The example of the worst case scenario is that ICO occurs and $100 USD buys Steem to buy the ICO'd SMT. Then 100% of the Steem received by the ICO is sold for USD and no explicit net effect related to the value of Steem. So even if they did buy up all the Steem and sold it, it's still like a negative effect because it's like, it didn't happen, right? But it's very unlikely because they're going to need that Steem for bandwidth and other application expenses. All right, and the last pointer here is Steem, the world's advertising network. So this goes back into people who are trying to advertise something, or maybe they just want to have an impact, and maybe they just want to have a really, really successful blog on APPICS or something like that. Then they're going to power up into Steem Power so that they have more influence over the trending page. Okay, that's basically what this section says here. Okay, so the same as we're seeing with Steemit. So anyways, these are some really good pointers. I think one of the biggest ones is going to be the bandwidth. I truly think that the fact that these platforms are going to be using the Steem blockchain, and that's one thing I didn't touch on, they are going to be using our network, right? They're going to be, and our network is so underutilized, right? We have more transactions than I think any other blockchain out there, but we have probably one of the least used as far as our network capacity goes. So it's no big issue like that they're going to be using our networks. We have all that set up already for them. They may as well have, like I said, a turnkey system to come over here and create their own smart media token and mimic what we're doing over here on Steemit. But they're going to need bandwidth in order to use those networks. That's the cost of it. And it doesn't really cost them anything. You just need to power up into some Steem Power. And by doing so, it raises the value of Steem. So it's brilliant, right? It's brilliant. So I think that's going to be one of the biggest driving factors of all of this for the SMTs. And I'm glad that I decided to shoot this video because I really wanted to get down to the bottom of why this is truly going to increase value for us. And so it's nice to see that they've actually outlined this here in the white paper. And again, I will leave a link to this below so you guys can check it out for yourself. Now, another question that I personally had, and I've actually heard other people ask, is, well, is the SMT, like for APPICS, for example, is it going to be using the Steem blockchain? No, it's not. It's going to have its own blockchain. It's going to have its own token, which will have its own value. But there are different layers. From what I understand, there's different layers to the Steem blockchain, and the SMT will just be on a different layer. Okay, so it'll still be using our network to a certain capacity. It's just we're going to have a different layer, and it's really, really complicated. I looked at a chart once of how these different protocols and different blockchains are kind of built together, and it's over my head, right? I mean, it's very intricate, it's very detailed, it's very technical, and so I don't completely understand it, but I just know that there are different layers. So Steem has its own blockchain, and it's almost like the SMTs are just a different layer of that blockchain, okay? But they technically have their own blockchain level, or their own blockchain, and they have their own tokens, and they have their own values. So keep that in mind. They are built on a separate blockchain layer, if you want to put it like that. So I hope that's been helpful, guys, in understanding why these SMTs are so important. I know when they announced it back in 2017, I think it was even early 2017 that Ned had first talked about this, and people really were kind of left in the dark because they didn't give very many updates on it and explain this, aside from putting out the white paper and stuff like that. Like, nobody's going to read it anyway. So I think it's something worth getting excited about now that we're seeing some SMTs come into play. We're seeing APPICS getting ready to launch. This is a good time to invest in Steem. It's also good time to invest in APPICS and these other SMTs that are coming out, because we've seen how successful Steemit's been. And imagine if you could get in at day one for 11 cents, 15 cents. I can't remember what APPICS is right now. Let me check real quick. Okay, so APPICS right now is 15 cents. 15 cents a token. Imagine if you could get Steem at 15 cents. Okay, I would buy up a lot of it. Okay, and I'm sure you would too. So that's one thing to keep in mind. I mean, if you keep an eye on these SMT ICOs, and again, I will try to keep an eye out myself so I can share this stuff with you guys. But it's a good, solid investment opportunity because we've seen how successful Steemit is. We've already seen the major excitement around APPICS. I mean, they've got some big content creators and big names in the entertainment business and entertainment industry already promoting them. So I know this is going to be successful. And even at 15 cents, guys, this is a good time to buy in. You know, I think you could have gotten in a little cheaper in the earlier rounds, I believe, or at least you could have gotten some bonus coins or extra coins. 15 cents is a good deal still. So if you want to invest in APPICS, go for it. Also, it's a good time to invest in Steem and power up in Steem Power because as more and more SMTs roll out and launch, again, the value of Steem, as we just went over, is going to raise in value as well. All right, guys. Well, I hope that's been helpful and, you know, kind of wrapping your head around this whole SMT Smart Media Tokens thing. I'm sure you still have some questions. Feel free to leave those below, and if I have the answer, I will give them to you. If I don't have the answer, I'll try to find it for you and point you in the right direction. But this is kind of a complex thing, so I'll try to generalize this or try to sum it up pretty easily for you guys. And, you know, there's a lot of stuff that I still don't understand. I'm trying to wrap my head around. But this is a very exciting time to be in Steem, in Steemit. And it's a good time to invest in these SMTs as they roll out. So I hope you guys are excited about this like I am. Now, we need to go ahead and pick a winner from my last video and find out who's going to win a free upvote for the Brandon Frye upvote bot. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, so my last video was the weekly comment catch-up, which I do every single Friday. So let's just pick a winner from that video. Let me just grab the URL real quick and post it in here. All right, so I got the URL in there. Let's pick a random winner. And to Sharon 23 says, nice poster. I just started following you. I saw your post on Witness and it was really helpful. And when I came here, I saw so many new things to learn about. Thanks a lot for sharing this. You are welcome. And congratulations, you are today's winner. So you're going to win a free upvote from the Brandon Frye upvote bot. So let's go ahead and just make sure that you did like that post or upvote that post. And they did. You can see their name there. So congratulations, you are today's winner. And I'll be sending that upvote to you here shortly. So congratulations. All right, guys, well, that's all for today's video. If you have any questions, again, feel free to leave those in the comments below. Also, feel free to leave any video ideas, anything you're looking to learn more about or you have questions about that has to do with Steemit or the Steem blockchain. Glad to help you guys out as much as I can. And until the next video, we'll see you soon.